for Senator Elizabeth Warren. I can't tell you what it's like to be on the Senate floor fighting with Ms. Persistence. We don't give up. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for being out here. Thank you for coming all the way out to Seattle to join us. I want you to know this is the first day it's rained in forever. And I want to thank our great speakers, Jay and Pramila and Minnie and Tina. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. You know, I think it's really important right now for me to remind you during this critical election why I decided to run for public office in the first place. I wasn't a politician, I was just a parent, just trying to save a state preschool program that was on the chopping block in the state legislature. They decided it was something they were going to put in the budget. Well, I knew how important that program has been to me and how valuable it was to families in our community, and I thought our legislature just needed to know that. So I bundled up my 2 little kids. I drove 100 miles to the state capitol in Olympia. I'd never been there before, although I was born and raised here, and started telling everybody how important it was. And this one very tall male legislator looked down at me and he said, "Well, that's nice, but you can't make a difference because you're just a mom in tennis shoes." Well, I was kind of stunned, but I was more mad than stunned. I drove home with my poor 2 little kids in the back of the car telling him he was not going to get away with that, and we were going to fight back and get the money back for that program. And I went home and I started calling people, friends, said, "Give me 10 more names, give me 10 more names." And pretty soon we had 13,000 families in this state who were willing to fight back with me. We wrote letters, we made phone calls, we inundated the legislature with all these moms and little kids, and you know what they did after 2 months? They reinstated the parent education program. But I didn't stop there because you know the good thing about tennis shoes? They're really good for running. So I ran for my local school board, I ran for the state senate, and then I ran for the U.S. Senate. And today I am still a mom in tennis shoes, a grandma in a tennis shoes, and a United States Senator. Look, I am so grateful for all of you being here today because the stakes of this election, as you just heard, are unlike any I have ever seen. Right here in America, a woman's right to make her own healthcare decisions has been ripped away. We have seen cruel abortion bans enacted all over the country, forcing women to stay pregnant no matter their circumstances. We have doctors who practice right here in Washington State who are afraid when they go home at night, just over the border where they live in Idaho, they might be arrested for doing their job. So I hope you all understand this is not a normal midterm election. My opponent is a MAGA Republican who actually celebrated the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. And she expressed support for a national abortion ban before she started running for the Senate. And she even supported defunding Planned Parenthood. Well, here's what I think. When people show you who they are, believe them. Believe them. After the primary election, my opponent started running ads, you probably saw them, where she says essentially, "I'm 100% pro-life, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I won't actually support anti-abortion policies." Well, now that confuses me a lot, Elizabeth. I got to tell you, because I am 100% pro-choice, and I support pro-choice policy every single time. And let me tell you, we sat in the U.S. Senate and listened to 3 of Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominees tell us, "I'm pro-life, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And now women have lost a constitutional right. So do worry about it. We should all be worried about it. I didn't believe the spin coming from Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominees then, and I definitely don't believe it coming from Mitch McConnell's hand-picked candidate, Tiffany Smiley, now. And I say Mitch McConnell's hand-picked candidate because he actually personally recruited her to run for the Senate against me. I recruited Elizabeth. Mitch McConnell recruited Tiffany Smiley. So it's pretty clear who she's going to work for if she ever got to Washington, D.C. And by the way, he is the person who's willing to bring a national abortion ban up for a vote. But you and I, we can stop him and we can stop Tiffany Smiley. So you heard Elizabeth allude to this, and it's really important to remember the number 52. 52. That is how many pro-choice senators we need and a Democratic House to get my bill to protect abortion rights to President Biden's desk. Yes! And the road to electing a pro-choice Congress goes right through Washington State. There is no doubt about it. If I am reelected and you send me back with enough pro-choice votes, you better believe the first thing we are going to do is pass the Women's Health Protection Act, and President Biden will sign it into law. We are also going to protect and preserve this democracy. Let me ask all of you, do you believe every American should be able to vote by mail like we do here in Washington State? Do you believe that we should end partisan gerrymandering nationwide? Do you believe that no one should face barriers when they go to cast their ballot? Well, we can do that with 52 Democrats in the Senate too. That's what we are willing to fight for. You know, I'm running against someone who couldn't even admit that Joe Biden was fairly elected president in 2020. She actually launched her campaign running on the big lie, saying she had serious questions about the integrity of the 2020 election. That kind of rhetoric is dangerous. And we definitely don't need more of it in the U.S. Senate. I will always stand up for our democracy. I will always stand up for our democracy. But our rights are not the only thing on the line. It is also whether or not we make progress to build an economy that works for everyone here in Washington State, not just giant corporations and those billionaires. Now, thanks to the American Rescue Plan, which not one single Republican voted for, we have recovered all the jobs lost since the pandemic. And after 4 years of listening to Donald Trump say it was Infrastructure Week with nothing to show for it, we sat down and worked to actually write a bill, get it passed into law, and make Infrastructure Decade a reality. And that was only possible because Democrats were in charge. And by the way, it was Democrats who negotiated and passed the CHIPS Act to build our supply chain of semiconductors, making sure we are building them right here in America. And I'm so proud that it was Democrats who passed the Inflation Reduction Act to finally force giant pharmaceuticals with Medicare to lower the cost of prescription drugs for everyone. And we delivered the largest ever investment in climate action with this bill. We are now going to cut carbon pollution We're going to lower energy costs. We're going to promote real American energy independence and build a clean energy economy here in Washington State and in every state across the country. That's what Democrats stand for. And by the way, while we're on this topic, did you know that my opponent believes climate change, which we know is a global crisis, is best solved at the local level? Are you kidding me? This week, Seattle had the worst air quality of any city in the world. She thinks we can fix that at a local level? Seriously, it's not just ridiculous. That is dangerous to have someone that clueless making policy decisions for our entire country. We cannot let that happen. And when she was asked about how she can address the gun violence epidemic, she said, "We need to secure the southern border." Well, I'm serious. So if you've listened to my opponent, and I'm sure you have, paint a picture and you feel like you're listening to Tucker Carlson or Fox News, you're not alone. Make no mistake, if my opponent were to win and she helps put Mitch McConnell in charge of the Senate, it will be a disaster in every possible way. Listen, we have gotten a lot done with this razor-thin majority, 50-50. I want to get a lot more done. I am working with Elizabeth on a child care plan to make child care affordable and accessible for everyone. I have a paid leave proposal, which will finally make paid family leave and medical leave a reality in our country. I have built more support along with Elizabeth than ever before, and we are this close to getting it done. We can and we need to do more to make sure our economy works for everyone, not just billionaires and corporations. But I want to be really clear. The reason we have not been able to make more progress on those issues that all of us believe in is because we do not have any Republican support for that. None. So no one should be under the illusion that if the Republicans were to get the majority this fall, that we will make any progress on climate action or child care or paid leave or anything else. It is really clear to me from working on these policies, on these issues for such a long time, there is one party, the Democratic Party, which believes major issues like child care or health care should be a priority for this country. And there is another party, the Republican Party, which just says, sorry, you're all on your own. You're on your own. With so much at stake, we have to win this November. I've never taken any election for granted. I'm working hard to earn every vote from every community in every part of our state to get my message out. We need an economy that works for working people and families in Washington State and put them first. I'll say this again. Democrats have delivered middle-class tax cuts, not tax breaks for giant corporations. We have passed the biggest action to combat the climate crisis in U.S. history. We've done investments in American jobs and American manufacturing. Real relief for working people who are burdened by student loans thanks to Elizabeth Warren. And to lower everyday costs for families on things like prescription drugs and health care. My opponent opposed all of that. She called it, oh, that's wasteful spending. Investing in our families, allowing people to go to work, taking care of our kids, wasteful? If you want to talk about wasteful spending, I can do that. Let's talk about the Trump tax cuts for billionaires and big corporations. My opponent says she wants to make permanent. That is wasteful spending. And here's what else that Senate Republican plan that my opponent supports will do. It puts Social Security and Medicare at real risk. It will roll back all of our progress on climate and prescription drugs. And by the way, dissolve the Department of Education. Betsy DeVos's dream. Who, by the way, her family is supporting my opponent. No surprise. To sum it up, Democrats believe that our economy and our country should work for all of us. Republicans believe it should only work for a few. Those at the very, very top. Tough luck to the rest of us. That is a big difference. I know it, you all know it. And now we have 18 days to make sure all of Washington State knows it. Ballots are going out today. So from now on, every day is Election Day. And I'm going to need your help, everyone here and everyone you know, to keep this Senate seat blue in 2022. It should be clear to all of us, there is no such thing as a safe seat this year. Dark money, GOP groups are pouring millions into this race. So, and by the way, Donald Trump's super PAC is also paying for some of her ads that you're watching. But here's what I know. I know that together we can out-organize and out-campaign the GOP, and we are better at getting our message out to voters, and we are going to win in November. We are going to win in November. Don't get distracted by polls and pundits. It's the voters who decide the outcome of this election and the future of our democracy. So not only do I need to make sure you vote, preferably today, I need everyone here to make sure that everyone you know, your parents, your friends, your colleagues, the people you see at the grocery store, the people that aren't paying attention, make sure they vote. And we need all of you to help us. Sign up to Canvas, sign up to Phone Bank, sign up to do shifts around the country. Don't hand wring, as my friend Derek Kilmer says, your hands have better uses in the next 18 days. Phone bank, knock on doors, text, call people, use your hands to make sure people get out to vote. So I know that volunteers are spread out around us here today. They're ready to get you involved. Make sure you talk to them. Make sure you sign up. Sign up for at least one shift, but at least two. Let's do more than we want to do. Let's do this, and let's do it before we leave this room today. I love being your voice for your values in the United States Senate. I want to keep doing that because I care about you. Help me, and we will win this election. Thank you.